Hola, welcome to EBA Day 2019 in Stockholm. I'm Hannah Wallace, and kindly joining me now in the press lounge is Tarik Zerkti and John Broxis from PRETA. Hello gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. It's lovely to see you again.
Pleasure.
Nice to see you.
So John, firstly coming to you, I want to talk about PSD2. It's less than 3 months now until the deadline. Can you tell me and sort of set the scene for us? What's the readiness of the market looking like?
I have to say the market is struggling to be on time. I think the sense of panic is setting in, and you can't blame the industry, I think. There's been a lot of late regulatory deadlines missed by the regulators themselves. There's been new guidance being given. Even yesterday, new guidance was going out. So we saw the UK when they cut over a year before, it took a few months for things to bed down. So I think we'll still be going well into 2020 as well. All
right, and how is Open Banking Europe helping support this move to PSD2 compliance?
Well, we've always seen this as a voyage of discovery. The regulators had a clear idea of where they wanted to go, but it was not clear exactly how the banks would achieve that in a way that produced a level of standardisation and something that was actually useful for the TPPs and the market players to use. So we've been running working groups, we've been publishing documentation, we've been working with certificates and certificate standards to bring in a really strong idea of how you identify the different participants in access to account, and particularly by providing a directory.
All right, and of course in January 2019, the dictionary of the Open Banking Europe went live. Why did the ASPSPs and TPPs need the dictionary, and what information did it contain?
So it's a directory that contains access information for the banks. The whole point of access to account is that you will grant access to those who are meant to be allowed to access the data, but you must block access to those who don't. And how do you know the difference between the two? Certainly there's EBAday certificates that are used for identification, but there's other information that's needed, regulatory data that today is scattered across 31 different national registers, and we're putting that into one central place so that the directory provides a single standardised repository of information in a machine-readable format that we can give to the banks and notify them when there are any changes. And just in addition to that, that's the regulatory access piece. There's also an area of the directory that contains a transparency data so the TPPs can understand what the banks are actually providing in terms of APIs and developer portals.
Sure. All right, and Tarik, coming to you, one of the requirements of PSD2 is strong customer authentication. But there can be some challenges around this, so could you highlight what those problems are?
Yeah, well there is a fear, especially around merchants, that SCA will bring a loss of conversion. By then reducing the number of transactions that they will have online. I think there is a balance that has to be found, because we forget often that this will also bring down the number of frauds and the cost of chargebacks. So I think we'll have to wait a bit, maybe the next year, and when it comes into force in September, that how the market will react. Not to mention also that it will be a same level playing field. Every single merchant in Europe will have to apply SCA. There will be a couple of exemptions, but what I mean by that is that it's not like you will suddenly be able to say, I'm going out of that merchant because he applied SCA and go to another one, and therefore he will lose sales. I think everyone will have a habit of using SCA, and people will have to get on with that.
All right, and coming to MyBank then, has there been a limit for the MyBank development?
Well, we have been SCA compliant, if you want, since the very beginning. So two-factor authentication is something we have since start. And to be honest, we didn't see any major issue here. People are quite happy to do transactions online. We didn't see this as a barrier. Therefore, we will not suffer any migration by September. People are quite used to that for the moment. So I cannot witness on that. For us, it's something very normal. So.
All right, and what are the main drivers for the excelled growth of MyBank?
It's true that we have had a good year last year. We have made about 5 billion euros of transacted value. We have to mention that it took us 5 years to get to 5 billion in total, and in just 1 year we did the exact same amount, so we doubled in just 1 year. We have now, on average per month, €500 million transacted value, which is quite good for us. Well, the drivers for growth is, obviously the high number of merchants that we are now onboarding thanks to our participating banks. A lot of payment gateways now around Europe are also implementing MyBank because it's recognized as one of the successful payment methods, at least in the countries where we are present. Not to mention, PayPal as well implemented MyBank as part of their smart payment buttons together with some other alternative payment methods. And brand awareness is increasing. It takes time to create a network of people, consumers on one side, merchants on the other. So yeah, every year we gain also in brand awareness, which increases the number of transactions. So
sure. Well, I think it's safe to say watch this space. Gentlemen, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah.